Good evening, everybody. So, I know nobody watches my broadcast, but I'm back at it again. So, maybe it's because I do it infrequently, whatever. But I have some things on my mind I want to talk about. It's kind of therapy for me. But if you're watching, I hope you're enjoying. I hope you make some comments. I hope maybe we can get some back and forth going. But anyway, I have some serious stuff on my mind, but it usually helps me to begin by talking about gaming. So, I play a game called Destiny 2. And there's probably people out there that play it as well, of course. The big thing I've been hearing lately, and why I want to start with Destiny 2, is because I don't think people understand how businesses operate or work. Everybody thinks businesses just make money, they're just interested in money, and that's absolutely true. Absolutely. I would never defend it and say it's not. But one of the things I'm hearing is because Bungie, the studio that makes Destiny 2, has made some unpopular decisions as of late, is that how can they do this? The crux of the complaints I'm hearing from reviews that I watch and stuff, because I am very big into the game. I like to watch other people play. I like to learn from them, etc. Is that Sony just acquired that Bungie for 3.2 billion. They have 3.2 billion dollars to work with now. Sony gave it to them. Sony didn't give them 3.2 billion dollars. They bought a company for 3.2 billion dollars. That's not their budget. That wasn't an investment. Well, it was an investment, but it wasn't like here's the $3.2 billion dollars to make your game better. It was here's $3.2 billion dollars. We now own your game. And the problem with that becomes the fact that now Sony has to push to make their $3.2 billion dollars back plus a profit. So what they did that's been so unpopular is number one, the expansion Lightfall. Lightfall had a huge following, a huge trailer before it's released. It released, and it's one of the, I don't want to say it's one of the worst video game releases of recent memory, but it is pretty bad. It's Destiny 2, so it's not horrible, but it was bad. The storyline was half baked. The entire campaign seemed like a tutorial. There wasn't a lot added to the activities, and they've tried to go back because Destiny's a live service game and retcon the lore and fix holes in the plot through the seasonal content, which, okay, good, you made a mistake trying to fix it. But I think the major problem is that Lightfall was only half done. So Lightfall got released pretty soon after the acquisition, and I think Lightfall was on the table, and they were part of the way through making it. Sony bought them, and Sony said, hey, we got to make our money, release this product now. And one of the hints to me that says that is not only is the game just kind of abysmal in and of itself, is the fact that Lightfall was supposed to be the last expansion. Immediately before Lightfall released, it's not the last expansion. There's another one coming out, but you just said it was the last one. Now, before it even releases, you know there's going to be another one. And they've further kind of trailed back that statement saying it's not even the last expansion for the game, period. It's the last expansion for this storyline. So some of the other things they've done is they've increased the price of the seasonal content. It used to be $10 for approximately 3 months. Could be a week more, a week less, depending on the season. Which, to be fair, is still a decent value. It's like this. For 3 months of Destiny 2, you pay, or used to pay, $10. For a month of World of Warcraft, you paid $15. For a month of Lord of the Rings Online, $15. For a month of most other MMOs, at least $12 for a month. Destiny 2, you get 3 months. And now on top of that, World of Warcraft, Lord of the Rings Online, other MMOs, they don't drop new content in the season. They make expansions, they make DLC that you either have to purchase separately or you get access to during your subscription. Destiny 2 makes specific content that is part of your purchase when you buy the season. Now, on top of that, you get the Battle Pass too, and I usually hate games with Battle Passes because it's just like a separate purchase. Like, I already bought the game. But being that it's included with the season, it's pretty nice. The season, you get a storyline, you get a couple activities. It's a decent deal for what it is. So they've now increased that price to about $12. which is still a good deal. And honestly, prices of everything going up, and it's still the cheapest. So I'm okay with that increase. The one thing that they did with the release of Lightfall, which I don't like, is the dungeons are now extra. And what I mean by that is if you want to get in the dungeons, you have to buy a dungeon key. Once you get the key, you unlock the dungeon. It's your content to keep, but you can play as many times as you want. Blah blah. They used to give you the dungeons as part of the expansion. Now it's $5 per key. Or excuse me, I think that recently even went up again to like 10. So you're not even getting the content you paid for. The whole expansion looks half done. New Muna, the new area you get, the new city, has 3 people in it other than enemies. And I've heard a lot of reviewers, and I think a lot of reviewers that I watch right now are actually on the takes, if that's the correct phrase to use. Not because they don't complain about things, but because they defended Lightfall's low population to the fact that there were so many textures and colors and so much data to make the city vibrant that they couldn't program in people. And NPCs don't make the world go round, I get it. But when you're playing in a dead city, it's just not a good feel. And I don't think that it was a lack of space for data. I don't think it was a lack of programming ability. I don't think it was a lack of computer hardware to make it work. I think they were just not done with it. So that's what leads me to believe that it was pushed out too early. And I don't know, it was just a horrible product. That being said, I will probably maybe on the fence of getting Final Shape when it comes out. I don't know. I've bought into this storyline for the last 2-3 years. I kind of like want to see the finish. That's why I even started buying the seasons, a year ago. I wanted the extra storyline, but it just everything seems so unfinished and just done on a whim. Storyline is horrible. I'm trying not to give spoilers. Just not a good product. But I think part of it is because Bungie just got acquired by Sony. Sony needs to make that money back. It wasn't an investment. They didn't give Bungie the money to make the game better. They bought it to make money. Now, it's not a bad thing to make money, but it is a bad thing to put out an inferior product, especially when you have this huge fan base. Words like cash grab, milking it, that's what I feel when I play with Lightfall, because there is no additional content really. You get the city, you get the campaign, which is basically a tutorial. It's very short compared to like Witch Queen, Forsaken, etc. Now, being a gamer, having played lots of games like this, I can tell you that they go through ebbs and flows. Not every expansion, not every DLC is a winner, but this one just felt like they were told push it out now, and Final Shape is kind of what they got in the background that should have actually been part of this game, and they've had to append lore and make things different just to make everything fit together. They weren't able to answer prime questions like what is the veil, why is it there, what's the whole whatever. And now they're in the seasons, they have revealed they're going to try to resurrect Savathun, one of the main bad guys that you spent a lot of time dealing with. I have no problem with this on its face. You got to continue the story, but I do think it's kind of quote lazy writings unquote to use the whole bring back to life thing. I mean, the whole game of Destiny is based on the fact that your character is basically immortal, and as long as you have the power of the light, you get resurrected. I get it. And Savathun did get the power of the light in a storyline where they were trying to juxtapose that light and darkness are not good or bad. It is just power. And I understand. I've seen the Saturday morning cartoons. I've seen the after-school specials. Things are tools. It's the hands of the user that determine good or bad. But I think this was very poorly written and a very poor decision on Bungie's part. Say that is that if you're going to use time travel's like the out for everything. Like, we wrote ourselves into a corner. Oh, characters figure out how to time travel and they go back and keep this from happening. Now, of course, Endgame did it in a very comic book way, a very thought out way, and it wasn't that bad. But I was sitting in theaters enjoying this movie, and the second time travel came up. I just, for a minute, was like, it's ruined. They pulled it off nicely, but it's an example of lazy writings. Using that trope of, oh, time travel, or oh, bringing back to life is just bad to me. I don't like it in my games, and I don't like it in my movies. Maybe you're different. That's just my opinion. Now, more things Bungie has done is they put out a state of the game address. In this address, they talked about the fact that they don't have the resources, the development team, to invest into the quote free unquote content. Now, what I mean by the free content is the fact that you do not have to purchase anything to play the game. If you do not purchase, you get a percentage of the storyline. I'm going to say it's like 40%. It's a healthy dose for a freebie. And that's really cool. And if you really like the storyline, you want to see the end of it, you want more, you purchase and you get more. It's a really nice system for a game. And then, if you want a deeper dive into the storyline, little side stories, a little deeper involvement in the characters, you buy the seasons and get more. That's very, very, very awesome. But essentially what they said in the state of the game is that their development is so stretched that they are not going to add more to the free side. Now, I guess that's fair and all. They're a company that want to make money. But also, in my opinion, my experience, a lot of the reasons they attracted their player base, especially me, is they start out free. You start out free, it's such a good product, you want more that you purchase. And I didn't know this because I'm not a since day one player, but apparently there are several core gameplay activities such as Gambit and Crucible that haven't gotten new maps in 3 years. 3 years they have not touched this content. And they're like, nope, we don't have the development team to do it. But guess what? We can make these cosmetics that y'all buy. We're going to make a lot more of that stuff. But we're not going to add to the free side, which attracts our player base. And I get it, you got to make money, but on the other side of that, you got to attract customers too. And saying, F you, we're not going to give you any demos is not a great way to do that. Since then, they have walked that back. Joe, don't remember his last name, put out a statement. He's one of the developers at Bungie, saying that he knows people are mad about this. They're actually now going to release one map for Gambit, one map for Crucible, and we're all going to get some free armor set. Woohoo! Woohoo! In 3 years, you didn't release a new map, and now we're supposed to be excited about one? He also tried to make it very specific and very important that we realize that this decision was just now made. He mentioned the fact that if you look at the production videos of him and the staff, that at the previous time he had a beard and now he doesn't. So you shaved it off. You went and you said, F the customer. You said, I know you guys like this product, but we want money. And when the community revolted, you said, but wait, no, that was a bad decision. We're going to give you free stuff, and you're going to give us the bare minimum, a map and an armor set. Woohoo. There's no new races. One of my favorite characters, one of the favorite characters of many, is one named Cade, which, again, spoiler alert, if you play the game, you know that Cade died a few expansions back. Very sad moment. They're bringing his character back. Again, very bad writing. If he's a guardian and he's immortal and his ghost can bring him back, why didn't it? But now it can. Like the fact that it couldn't, but now it can, doesn't make sense to me. Also, the fact that he is a cyborg and he could have simply downloaded his brain at any time into another body. Now, I did see a review of a leak where they talk about when Cade comes back, he's not coming back as a character, he's not coming back as a person. He's more like a spirit guide, like he's there, but he's not. He's just there to kind of push you along the story path. And maybe that'll be okay, maybe it won't. We'll see when Final Shape comes out. But my point is this, is that many businesses across America operate in a way that they can get the most for the least. And we've seen that after the pandemic. We've seen record profits.